Now, if you visit your GP with a problem, there are many cases in which you're likely to leave with a prescription. But what if that prescription wasn't for medication? A new campaign has been launched in Liverpool today, which aims to improve people's health and well-being through something called social prescribing. To tell us more, I'm joined now by Dr. Cheryl Lowes, who is GP in Liverpool and Community Development Lead for Primary Care, and also to Chrissi, who's a link worker and has been involved in the launch of the new scheme. Hello, Cheryl.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, hello, Chrissi. How are you doing? All right?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Cheryl, I'll start with you if I may. Can you just explain to us what is social prescribing?
So, social prescribing is a prescription that happens if a patient comes to a GP practice and the issues are shared that don't necessarily need a medical prescription or medical intervention, but where a lot of the issues raised need non-clinical support with. So there might be some mental health issues or low confidence, low self-esteem, or indeed it might be issues surrounding some of the wider determinants of health, things like difficulty with their housing and their landlord, or difficulties with debt or household income maximisation, rent arrears, things like that, that really GPs up until now have found it quite difficult to manage from a medical perspective. But we're just so excited that we have this new social prescribing service, or this Wellbeing Liverpool service that we can refer patients into so they can get appropriate help and support for them to be able to contribute to their own well-being.
Yeah, because do you think in the past maybe the default has just been immediately to prescribe medication and perhaps the alternatives haven't been looked into enough?
Well, I think that we very much have a medical model of health that is accepted perhaps as the only model, but then obviously there is the social model of health that recognises that we are, as humans, we are both, as well as being physical beings, we're also emotional, psychological, and social beings, and that in order for us to be well, we need to have all of those areas addressed. And GPs and doctors don't prescribe just because there's an expectation to prescribe antidepressants, for example, but and we still do prescribe those when they're needed. But there are other tools in our kit, if you like, now that we can share with patients, enable them to have a better chance of improving their well-being.
Okay, I'll bring Chrissi in at this point, if I may. Chrissi, so what kind of things can people do then?
Well, I think, to be quite honest with you, that's a never-ending answer. It's when a patient is first referred to us from their GP, what I will do as a link worker, I will sit and take a 360 holistic view of the patient's situation. So we'll look at how they are with what they've been referred for. So maybe someone's got anxiety, they've got depression, and that is it's being caused by poverty, low level of income, personal problems. There's a whole heap of issues in the background that may contribute to somebody feeling unwell. So what I will do is I'll sit down with the patient, have a look at the situation, and then determine what is their best course of action for them. I must say it's a two-way conversation. My input is driven by the patient. So say, for example, I've got a client who was referred to me in the autumn of last year, and everything about this person's situation was crisis. There was job loss, anxiety, depression, lots of family problems in the background. The person had never been in the benefit system before. Universal credit wasn't covering the rent. It wasn't. They couldn't afford to eat. They didn't have any gas. They didn't have any electricity. They needed emergency food support. So my initial approach to this patient was to stabilise their situation, get them referred to the appropriate agencies. So I referred them internally for welfare support and the welfare rights team, the welfare rights team for a discretionary housing payment as well. I talked Liverpool for psychological support, telephone befriending service so that the person had someone to speak to every day or nearly every day throughout the week. From that point on, it was a case of providing touch support to this person until after Christmas, when the situation had stabilised, the medication from the doctor had kicked in, and they were in a much better place mentally and emotionally. From there on in, I could then have another conversation with the patients on, well, you know, now that you're stable, you're feeling hopeful, you feel optimistic, what can we do? What can I do for you so that the medication and the help that you've had promotes long-lasting change, and you can create wellness in your life moving forwards. So what we did then is the person, as usual, when people are facing, when they've got a low income, is what I did then is they did not have a computer. So I was able to source a computer for them from Bulky Bob's, get them online, and then get them signed up to classes within the community. So things that are being run online: combat and anxiety, combat and depression, what else to come on to, and self-esteem, confidence building, and so on. And the thing with the social prescriber model is that it's malleable. So different people have different needs, and I can work with them to meet their needs.
Yeah, sure. And Liverpool seems to be very forward-thinking in this. Is that right?
Oh gosh, yeah. I think it's head and shoulders over the rest of the country. I mean, pretty much if you look at the amount of agencies out there that are offering support to the local community, I mean, it takes your breath away.
I just bring Cheryl back in at this point. You can understand why people might be a bit sceptical about this when they first hear about it. It's about winning them over, I suppose, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, so just going back to your previous question about Liverpool being front runners, we are front runners in the sense that we couple the social prescribing in the traditional social prescribing, supporting patients to get more involved with their community, increasing relationships and community connections, with the practical support offer that was just being described. So in that sense, we are front running, and I think patients. They come to their GP, don't they, for support, and they do. We're in such privileged position that we share a lot of we get to know a lot of personal details about patients that we naturally want to help them with, and I think that when patients feel listened to by their GP, they're then open to the help that's offered through a social prescription. It's all about having a relationship with your patient, I think, which as GPs we have the privilege of being able to develop because we see patients on our list. It's not just a discharge goodbye. It's we're open. We're a universal service that is open and wants to support people in their community.
Yeah, and just finally, Chrissi, I suppose the significance of this, the relevance of all of this, it kind of hits you in the face, doesn't it, really, when you think about what's gone on over the last 12 months. Mental health is such a major issue for us now, isn't it?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people are being referred because of mental health and anxiety and depression, and the current pandemic is exacerbating existing medical conditions as well. So that's what we're there for, really, is to offer people support during these particularly difficult times, and even when the pandemic's hopefully over, and help them get through and give them a sense of community and a sense of connection.
Lovely speaking. Oh, sorry, go on, Cheryl.
Oh no, I am sorry. It was just to say that it's not that GPs won't prescribe medical interventions, but this social prescription could be an alternative, or it could be an and prescription. Yeah.
Yes, I see. I get the point you're making there. Thank you both of you for coming on.
Thank you very much for having us.
Take care. Bye-bye. That's Chrissi Clark there, and also Dr. Cheryl Lowes there, who's a GP in Liverpool and community lead as well.